Welcome back, Colts Corner, with myself, Kevin Bowen, and Eddie Garrison is across the way. Week 3 of the NFL season is here. One of 4 2-0 teams in the AFC. That would be the Indianapolis Colts on the road to the ultimate party atmosphere for a Sunday afternoon game. That would be Nashville, and it will be Colts and Titans. 1 o'clock. Field goal favorite, 3.5 maybe, for the Colts here in Week 3. Senor Garrison, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I want you to rate my woo, because I know there's a lot of wooing that goes on in Nashville. Okay,
and a lot of tooing, right? A hawk tooing?
Oh, no.
No?
Stop,
okay. Oh, gosh.
Stop,
okay. I should probably stop there.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Woo!
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you on the back of the pedal bar or the front of the pedal bar?
Well, I don't know. I almost called you Jake just fresh off the show with Jake. I almost called you Jake. I'm sorry. I don't know how you feel about.
I don't know if I like that.
It gives you PTSD of working with him in the mornings. I don't know. I just think of How I Met Your Mother. I don't know if you're a How I Met Your Mother show guy, but yeah, the Woo Girl episode with Robin and everybody at the bar. Yeah.
Yeah, I heavily endorse that. So great work by you on that. Very reminiscent of Daniel Jones to start here in this 2025 NFL season. So we'll obviously get to Colts and Titans news. Fresh off the practice field, some notable names not practicing. I guess, Eddie, let's just start there. Typically, as we record this Wednesday podcast, the injury report, usually back half of it tends to be published. So we'll await injury designations for Tyler Warren and Josh Downs, but those two guys were observing practice. They both were present. I think they both talked to the media today, and we'll obviously await to see kind of official word. Wednesdays can be days of rest, typically in the month of September. They're not very restful, but nonetheless, we'll continue to monitor that because it goes without saying that Warren and Jones are critical guys. Warren played 66 snaps. I think we talked a little bit about this on Monday's pod, Eddie. That is a giant number. Mm-hmm. I believe only Trey McBride had one game of playing more than that last year in the NFL. I mean, that is for a tight end, that is. So that is a huge, huge number. Downs, of course, dealt with a hamstring injury in August. Neither of them were diagnosed with an injury during the game, or I don't even think the blue tent was used by the Colts on Sunday. And, I always point this out when you're dealing with positions because I think it does matter. Josh Downs has done this before in his career. They both play positions where you could pitch count them in a very specific role. Remember the game in Germany, Eddie, with Josh Downs?
Yeah.
And just the third down role, and he made the play of the game. Remember on that diving catch from Gardner Minshew to ice it? Just honestly one of the best plays I've seen. Certainly Downs make, and maybe any Colts pass catcher in recent years. So we'll see how the week moves along. Obviously, it goes without saying that it is a critical time, in terms of both of them being impactful players. But we'll see how that plays out. Mooney Ward back to practice, and then we saw Latu, which it was a little bit of a surprise based off what Shane Steichen said like an hour before practice. It looked like Latu was actually going. I don't know, how much he did in individual drills and everything, but Latu with the hamstring is probably the one I'm watching more. Ward was in a blue jersey, so he has already nearly progressed through the entire protocol,
right?
Which is always a positive sign on a Wednesday. Latu with the hamstring, Eddie. If we play this out, today was day 7. Mm-hmm. Typically these hamstrings, and unfortunately the Colts know them better than most.
Yep.
They're typically a multi-week thing. So, Latu, if he plays on Sunday, that, of course, would not be multi-week. Well, I guess it'd be like 10 or 11 days from the injury. And, again, he plays a position that you could rotate at. But, nonetheless, good news that Latu and Mooney Ward both back practicing.
Is Maddie a woo girl? Was she a woo girl?
I'm going to say no. She did tell me I came upstairs Monday night after watching the end of the Texans-Bucks game, and her first comments were, Baker Mayfield's pretty cute.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that?
I don't know. That was kind of a tough one to fall asleep on, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Did you not?
I watched a little more of Char. I was like, let's look at Justin Herbert. Well, I mean, Justin Herbert's significant other right now. Boy.
There you go. Did you say, did you know this Madison Beer gal?
Yeah, I should have, but I did not. I instead probably watched too much of Chargers Raiders to try to get my mind off of Baker Mayfield. Impressive final minute and also.
So were you looking at Brock Bowers' hairline?
Yeah, maybe I should have gone there. I have Brock Bowers in one of my fantasy teams, so I probably should just focus on that. But yeah, I definitely enjoy a weekend in Nashville. But dude, this is a party. Sunday is and we'll get into this a little bit more when we talk Titans. Sunday is just a handle your business game.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
The Titans stink. That atmosphere is going to be dull. There are going to be a ton of Colts fans, and the NFL presents these occasionally.
There's going to be a lot of blue.
A lot of Colts blue.
I was just say a lot of blue.
The NFL presents these games where, like, very little that happens Sunday at 1 o'clock will probably mean something for January. But at the end of the day, you have a responsibility as an NFL player that, there are some games each season that the team's not very good, and it's your job to, again, take care of business, be a professional, be disciplined. That's the word that Shane Steichen has used quite often already this week. You're a road favorite against a rookie quarterback in week 3. That's a dream situation. You want to play the rookie quarterback early. You're getting that chance. Right now, he has not really shown much. Zaire Franklin is begging him to throw the same pass he threw for a touchdown last week, coming up this Sunday. So it is a handle-your-business type of game for the Colts. But, again, we can save more of the Titans talk for Titans.
Right. Before we fully dive into that really quick, I was thinking about this the other day. I failed to mention up on Monday's podcast, but I go back to some of the things that Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard said after last season, before the start of this season. And the one thing that I have felt like the Colts have accomplished through 2 weeks, Kev, is they have looked tougher. And that was a big point of emphasis from Chris Ballard after the season, is that this team needs to be tougher. They just need to be more physically tough, mentally tough, whatever the case may be. How would you evaluate that through 2 weeks? Because I thought the mental toughness and the mental fortitude was on display against the Denver Broncos on Sunday.
Yeah, I always struggle to define toughness. Does it mean trench play? Does it mean pure physicality? To your point, is it more of a mental thing than anything? Like Spencer Schrader displayed an impressive amount of mental toughness, right, to come back and kick the 45-yarder. Now, at the end of the day, the Colts, if Denver is smarter, then the Colts are 1-1.
Right.
So it's like, how much can I preach this toughness? What I have said throughout the week, and I think I said it kind of on Monday, but I'll say it again here, Eddie. The Colts are 2-0, and a massive reason is Daniel Jones.
And the right arm.
And that, to me, yes, and his right arm, not necessarily his legs, outside of the QB sneaks. That, to me, is a wildly impressive thing. And I think if you're a Colts fan, that offers a little bit of whoa, that's different. I didn't think 2-0 isn't the most stunning thing in the world, right? I mean, you had 2 home games. Obviously, Denver is a good football team, but still, again, it's not the most shocking thing in the world. It's more the fact of, wow, Daniel Jones's football is a huge reason why you are at 2-0. And even if you're 1-1, even if that flag doesn't come out, Daniel Jones has still played great football for you. And I guess to get into Jones here for just a second, my questions now become, what does confidence do for him? Because he looks confident.
Oh, yeah.
The opening drive on Sunday, once again, I was blown away with it. His ability to hang in the pocket, muddy pockets, awkward footwork, and deliver, and take chances. And again, that's on the opening drive of the game. That's not must-have, whatever, fourth quarter sort of moments for him. They have been tremendous on first down. I think they've done a lot of the, hey, let's throw early downs. So that's where I think you have to be impressive. And to get back to Jones's legs for a second, in 2022, Eddie, he ran for 700 yards. I mean, right now he's at his fewest rushing yards per game of any season in his career. So that to me is again, sometimes when you are excelling as the runner,
second in the league in passing,
it's hard to sustain the annual running years.
Yes.
And he obviously has had an ACL since then. So the fact that he is delivering because he can certainly make a play or two with his legs. I'm not debating that, but I think the fact that he has done this with more of his arm is also an impressive note for him. So, again, I know I hit on this a lot on Monday, but you just have to be thoroughly impressed by Jones. And I know some people are, more and more people are tweeting out the deep ball clip to Downs, his first throw of the game. I mean, I said to Mike Chappell, holy shit. That was a holy shit throw. Like, to hang the first play, first off, for you to take that chance, and then, because, I mean, that was some good coverage, and it was not just necessarily, completion or incompletion. There was some risk involved with it, too. So, again, great work from Daniel Jones. Can he win Comeback Player of the Year? Is Comeback Player of the Year you come back from sucking or you come back from injuring?
Didn't they change it to where you have to be injured the prior year?
So you do, because I'm seeing him on these odds list.
I thought they changed the rule because who was it that won Comeback Player of the Year?
Was it Flacco?
Yes, it was Flacco who won it, even though he didn't really suffer an injury.
Right, he was just bad.
Yeah.
Right, so yeah, I've always been a believer it should be injured, not bad, but...
And number two...
Nonetheless.
The word Alex Smith the name Alex Smith dropped like a half a dozen times by Chris Ballard, and I know it's only 2 games, but Kev, it looks like what he said about like the Alex Smith type of resurrection
sure.
is coming to life right now with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and the beauty of the NFL is you got to string it together, and you got to do it month after month. And how do you look at Jones right now? Do you say, oh, wow, he's uber confident. I wonder how he's going to play, continuing to be confident. Or do you sit here and you say, well, teams are going to get more film on him. And, what happens when now all of a sudden these teams decide not to, which I think Denard Wilson will blitz a ton on Sunday. But what happens when teams say, hey, he's doing really well against the blitz. Let's just drop 7 or 8 and, see how he'll do.
And that's when you hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor.
In that regard. So, yes, the Colts obviously have counters to this. So, great work from Jones, obviously. A couple other items of note. Offensively, I think the A.D. Mitchell usage has been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He has been targeted from a percentage standpoint, the most of any wideout on the team.
Yeah.
6 targets and 22 snaps, which I wrote this on 1075thefan.com. I won't bore you too much with the numbers.
Way to plug yourself, Kevin. Nice job.
But that is 27% of his target rate when he's on the field. That is a huge number compared to Downs, Pittman, and Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's notable. Shane Steichen had some complimentary things to say about Mitchell today, and we'll see. If Downs is out, are you going Anthony Gould, or is this back to kind of early last year where, you put other guys in the slot? Obviously Warren's, presence and or absence would play into that as well. With Jonathan Taylor, a lot of people are asking, hey, is this a rest day for Tyler Warren? Well, part of me is like, well, man, shouldn't Jonathan Taylor use a rest day right now? We kind of gone over his workload. I mean, you look around the league, Bijan Robinson is nearly splitting carries. Even Saquon, even Derrick Henry, those guys have had some others take some, carry count off of them. Taylor has carried it. I think he leads the league in rushes, and that's with missing a full quarter to end that season opener. Red zone struggles for me, Eddie. A little bit poor running in the red zone.
One more carry than Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
3 more than
is
Saquon
it 43
Barkley.
For Taylor? Does that sound right?
43 for Taylor, yes.
Red zone struggles. I think they've struggled to run it in those confined spaces, and then a couple injuries, a couple penalties that I think have played into. You get behind the chains down there, and it's never ideal. Flipping over to the defense, I'll be curious to see how their run defense transpires from here. I get it. Lou Anarumo, I thought, was pretty transparent in saying, like, hey, week 1, the plan was don't let 17-10 beat you. Mm-hmm. And, again, that makes sense. He referenced, actually, the first play of the game, they had a run call, or they had a pass call on Miami, ran it for 10. Again, some of that stuff's going to happen when you face those sorts of teams. So I can understand that. The Denver thing is probably a little bit more bothersome because, like, they do want to run it, and you know that, and they still ran it pretty effectively.
Dobbins ran it well. Harvey did not.
Right. Dobbins ran it well. And I'd say probably the most frustrating, I thought the linebackers, I had questions about the linebacker play. So their play right now does not surprise me. I think the edge rush has been disappointing.
Yeah.
And, again, Latu's absence in week 2 contributes to it, but, dude, I just feel like the Colts have just have a bunch of, power rushers.
Yeah.
I don't think they have any speed. And, again, maybe Latu is that. But, speed guys that really can kind of bend that pocket via the edge. Mm-hmm. And, again, because think about it, the beneficial thing to the edge rush is now that pushes them into Buckner or Grover. I mean, the interior rush is usually where the Colts are good at.
Yeah.
You look at the Cam Bynum pick, I thought Grover kind of contributed to some of that. So you just have to have better edge rush than they have had early in the year. I want to say their pressure rate's 30 30th or 29th, something pretty low. And they're blitzing way too much for the pressure rate to be that low.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're trying to sit back and play coverage. So those are a couple of the defensive notes that I had. Obviously, this week's a get right. This week is a pick up the Colts defense in fantasy, right?
Yeah, maybe. You want to dive in Titans?
Well, I guess last thing now that I think about it, Eddie, we should just put a bow tie on what happened at the end of the game and Shane Steichen not doubling down.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That was obviously a big topic, for us on the Monday pod. I think if you're a Colts fan, it's exactly what you want to hear from Steichen. He's not being stubborn. He's not doubling down. I don't think he went as far in publicly admitting what he would do differently. I don't remember him doing that with like the Denver trick play necessarily, or even the Minshew to Tyler Goodson play. So I think that is something that you want. Not that these situations arise weekly, but hey, I made a mistake. If we get in the situation again, this is probably what I would do. Because even if you go back, I want to say like third down, they snapped that ball with 17 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So if you run a pass play there, Eddie, and it's incomplete, you're still running probably 4 or 5 seconds off the clock just to run that pass play. So now you're down to 12. Let's say it's 5 seconds. You kick the field goal then. Let's say the field goal takes another 5 seconds. There's 7 seconds left in the game.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't kick the ball off and defend the field in 7 seconds, you deserve to lose.
Yeah.
So
or you can do what the Bears did not do is either A, kick it through the end zone, or kick it short of the landing zone. If you really wanted to do that, and if you were that scared of Miami having a big return.
Right. And I don't, by no means do I want to crucify Shane Steichen, but I do think it's a reminder of like, this is a first-time head coach, and yes, it's year 3.
Yep.
But there are growing elements to the job, and that's what, I don't know, maybe Anthony Richardson's in the back of the room saying, wait, growing elements on the job? Hello, I'm back here. Maybe, well, actually, you probably don't want Anthony Richardson in the back of the room. You probably want him in the front of the room. But nonetheless, I think it's probably a good reminder that sometimes there is that with Steichen. So we had a listener, I forget his name. He tweeted at me. He goes, do you feel Shane Steichen's the dumbest, smartest person you know? I'm like, yeah, I laughed at it. I'm like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Drew, but largely I think he's such a psychotic football human.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
That the football gods gave that to him. They're like, dude, you worship us so much. You love the game of football so much.
It's your typical case of an overthinker.
We owe you. Yeah, 1,000%. So, yeah, I just wanted to put a bow tie on that.
You mentioned picking up the Colts defense this week in fantasy as a potential streamer option. That's because if you look at almost every offensive stat you can, Chargers are the worst team in the NFL.
Titans, yeah.
Thank you. My goodness, I don't know where I'm getting Chargers from. But Cam Ward completing 50% of his passes, only 1 touchdown, no picks yet from the rookie. He's been sacked 11 times this year. Tony Pollard averaging barely 4 yards a carry. His longest run of the year is only 10 yards. They don't have a single receiver with 10 receptions yet. You're looking at Calvin Ridley leading the team with 7 receptions for 84 yards. Chiga Okonkwo also tying the team lead in receptions with 7 for 54 yards. The guy who does have their lone touchdown on the season is, I hope I'm saying the first name right, Alec Ayumanor.
Is that the Stanford kid? He was good in college.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, he's been a bright spot for them. 6 catches, 69 yards, and that receiving touchdown on the season. But offensively, they are struggling each and every week. Defensively, they're pretty solid, though, Kevin.
Well, they certainly are better defensively than offensively, but I don't know if I'm ready to go there just yet.
It could be like the Colts last year, for example. We felt like there was some talent there, but they were just on the field so much.
It's a fair point.
It's like, you got a high pressure water going through a pipe. It's going to burst eventually.
No, that is a good analogy. I'll be curious to see their injury report because guys like Tavondre Sweat, a key defensive tackle for them, missed last week. Kevin Zeitler on the offensive line, J.C. Latham on the offensive line. I mean, those are 3 important pieces in the trenches that if they're not practicing and or playing, the Colts could have an advantage there. Because I do think that's one area, if Tennessee's healthy, like Jeffrey Simmons is a really good football player. Peter Skoronski was top 10 pick. That is one area that I feel like they could have something there. But if they're not healthy, then I really don't expect this game to be too close. Again, this is discipline. It's, again, NFL life presents some of this stuff. You're a road favorite. It's a rookie quarterback. It's a party atmosphere. Just handle your business. It might not have January, huge key evaluation periods that will point to a wild card game in January and point back to week 3, but it matters as a win and a loss, and that obviously is huge. So the Titans have lost 8 straight, dating back to last season. So they obviously have had an issue there in trying to win football games. Brian Callahan and Lou Anarumo, that's a little bit of a Cincinnati background, is it not?
It is indeed, yeah.
They actually faced late last season. Now, Denver, you think about it last week with Bo Nix. Bo Nix did have a success against Lou Anarumo last year. He then had success against him, of course, on Sunday. Obviously, Cam Ward did not play in last year's game. Tennessee did weirdly put up 27 points against Cincinnati last year with Mason Rudolph and Will Levis. So, again, I don't... To me, the Bo Nix, having seen it and then playing against him again, is a little different than just the same offensive staff seeing him again. Offensively, you just laid it out there. Ward has been sacked a ton. Tony Pollard, they certainly will want to be a big focal point. I don't think their pass catchers have aided Ward at all. To some people, his numbers haven't been maybe as poor, or his play, I should say, hasn't been as poor as maybe the numbers would indicate. A massive problem for them through 2 weeks. They're the most penalized team in the NFL. So that's the double whammy. We talked about this with Denver last week. Denver beat them week 1, and a huge reason why is Tennessee had like 130 penalty yards. So, the discipline of that football team probably leaves a lot to be desired. I would expect Denard Wilson, based off what he said earlier in the week, that he will bring some pressure at Daniel Jones, which, again, Jones has really carved up very, very well, but I don't think he was very pleased with the pressure rate there last week against the Rams. So, this is probably your easiest road game of the year. When you look at it but the fact that you're getting Cam Ward in week 3, I think is a big part of it. I think you might feel differently if this was a December game. And this is it. You play Tennessee this week. You play Tennessee again. I want to say it's kind of like late October.
Week 8.
Week 8, okay. Those are your only divisional games.
The game before Halloween.
Until you get all the way through your bye. It's like week 11 or 12 for your next divisional game. So, if you are to, let's say it's Houston and Indy going down the wire for the division title.
Week 13, first matchup.
If you split for some reason, then the next tiebreaker comes down to divisional record. So,
do you think Houston's good?
I don't know.
I think they're just average.
Yeah.
I watched that game Monday night, and I'm like...
That was such a bad loss. I love their ends. I mean, Hunter and Anderson are just studs.
Oh, yeah. Defense is fine, but they can't do jack squat offensively.
Right. And I was shocked that Chubb ran that touchdown. Should Chubb have fallen down on the 1 yard line, right? If he falls down on the 1, do they win the game?
Tampa had their timeout, so...
So they could have burned them.
Yeah. Still had time.
Yeah. And I guess at that point, are you still trying to score the touchdown, or you're just kicking the field? Right. Weren't they down 1? Is that right? Yeah, because then they missed the 2-point conversion off of that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Houston, I've always thought kind of until you derail. I mean, if you look at it, Houston, because they were favored over Tampa, but they weren't favored over the Rams.
Last year either. They just played in the South, and
God bless the South, man. 1-5 right now. Those other 3 teams, and again, the Colts now are doing their thing here. So let's get to Twitter questions, unless you have anything else to add on the Titans, and then we'll give our picks.
Starting with Benji, unserious question for the pod. Should we cut Rigoberto Sanchez? Serious question. What player or position group has surprised you the most through 2 games? I've been very pleased with the offensive line. I was concerned about that group before the season. Also, Daniel Jones has been awesome. Thanks, Benji.
Yeah, Benji, it's got to be Daniel Jones. By the way, a lot of media contingent around Rigoberto Sanchez locker. Did you see NFL Films did a highlight reel of him?
Great.
So good. Basically all holds and like an occasional celebration or two. So, Yeah, Jones for sure, I guess, to answer the question. I mean, the offensive line and pass protection, and even, I'd say pass protection more than run blocking, but still, it's not like they've been poor in run blocking. You know, a guy that I've liked individually, I know his unit right now, it's a little bit of a question mark, but I like what Nick Cross has shown early in this season. So I would go there as well.
JR, now I believe, Kevin, JR is from Ontario, Canada.
Ooh. Okay. I can't say I've ever been to Ontario.
I can't either. World of Extremes, Shane Steichen either directly coaches the Colts to a win or to a loss in Tennessee. Which is it, and why?
Boy, that seems very specific. So either Steichen coaches the Colts to a win or Steichen coaches the Colts to a loss?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the Colts are going to win, so I guess Steichen would be coaching them.
Could you say week 1, Steichen coaches them to a win, and week 2, Steichen coaches them to a loss? With the way he handled the end?
Yeah. Like if you were, if you want to go in the gray area, yeah. The thing about Steichen, he wears so many damn hats as the play caller and as the head coach and, quarterback developer and all that stuff. It's just hard to fully evaluate him. I mean, a loss I think would be disappointing. I'm a little surprised the spread is as small as it is. I mean, I get road, but I mean,
divisional games, Kevin, they're always weird.
I know. And one of the hardest parts about the NFL is predicting when weird's going to happen.
Yep.
Like, is weird happening tomorrow night? Are the Miami Dolphins going to upset the Buffalo Bills?
No.
So, you laugh and you say no, and I get that. But at some point this year, we're going to have, a 12-point underdog on Thursday Night Football win. There's just always one of those games. The 2022 Colts beat Patrick Mahomes. It's like, wait, what? How does a 4-win team beat Patrick Mahomes? So that's just, weird stuff happens in the NFL. But, yes, I expect the Colts to win. That's a bad Titans team in a party atmosphere.
What would have to go wrong for them to lose? They turn the ball over?
Yeah, like Jones throw a ball that he did against Miami, and it turns into a pick six.
Yeah.
They catch that interception. Was it last year that Tony Pollard scored on the 3rd and 18 or something?
Oh, yeah. Was it a screen or a draw?
Something like that. Cam Ward Houdini'd it up a couple times. Those sorts of – Knicks had that play on Sunday. I don't even blame Kenny Moore, but he kept that play alive, and he got the deep ball to Mims down the sideline. But, that type of stuff from Ward.
Tyler is next, and we were talking about A.D. Mitchell earlier. Tyler's question, what will it take for AD's snap count to increase? In his 7 snaps against Denver, he was targeted 4 times with 2 receptions. Is it just a matter of too much other talent at the receiver position to justify his limited snaps, or is it something else?
Yeah, this kind of gets back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier with him. I would say this. It's, first off, you have very capable players above him. I think that deserves mention. And I frankly just think they trust the other guys in run blocking, for example, in carrying out some of their responsibilities. I don't know if you saw, but of course it made Steichen giddy. Steichen was giddy about, did you see the video clip of Alec Pierce fake catching the ball on Sunday?
I did.
I don't see A.D. Mitchell doing that. Carrying out your role that deeply down. I don't think A.D. Mitchell's maybe the best number 3 or 4th option route runner. When you know where you are in the progression, are you still running that route to the nth degree? And honestly, with Mitchell too, I think there is an ability of can you lull the defense to sleep? Of all of a sudden he comes out of the huddle and it's oh yeah, I kind of forgot about 10. And then it's well, if you forgot about 10, we're running a go ball on Patrick Surtain and we're throwing the ball to him. There's not a lot of number 4th wideouts that get in the league, get into a game.
Yeah.
And do, I mean, how many number 4 wideouts have the target percentage that he does?
That's a good question. Probably none.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. So yeah, I would just say overall, Tyler, again, Downs is your slot guy. They love Pittman as a blocker, certainly. I think they love Pierce, just his steadiness and reliability in carrying out all their different tasks. And, at some point this year, there'll probably be an injury to the top 3, and Mitchell will play a few more snaps, certainly.
Does it, at the end of the day, with AD, at least right now, with where they're at in terms of how they're divvying up the snaps and routes and whatever, does part of it also come back to just the coaching staff's trust in AD to be in the right spot and running the right route and being there at the right time? And does that also go hand in hand with Daniel Jones a little bit as well?
Yeah, but I will say this. Him and Daniel Jones and A.D. Mitchell had some growing pains in camp.
Right.
And yet, you wouldn't know it if you see them on Sundays right now. Like, Daniel Jones targets him religiously. Mm-hmm. And there's some trust there of like, hey, I'm hitting my back foot. You're not out of your break yet, but still, I know you're running this comeback. I mean, they had the one little third down in week 1 where, Mitchell didn't have a chance to do anything with it after the catch.
And he got a little upset about it.
Right. But, I mean, that's really – I'd have to go back and look. What did I say, 27%, Eddie, for his target percentage?
27.3%. It was 27.27272727.
All right. So last year he had 55 targets, okay, for the entire season.
Yep.
Okay, 55. And then let's see how many offensive snaps he played. He played 383. So that was 14%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, think about that. You're already – and even last year I thought at times, I'm like, man, he's not playing a lot, but they're still targeting him a good amount when he's out on the field. So.
Yeah. Would you like to know, KB from Drew, is it too early to worry about the defense?
I was disappointed in the defensive effort on Sunday just because I don't think Denver has shown the ability to do that, particularly through the air. And, like, one thing specifically, Eddie, is like Xavier Howard, when he was getting cooked early, it wasn't Cortland Sutton.
Right.
It really wasn't Cortland Sutton at all during the game. And, last year, Denver had a couple, like, fluky moments where, obviously, the Nick Bonita play, but, like, Mims set up a huge score off of a big punt return.
I think they went after Howard 8 times in that game, if I read that correctly somewhere.
Gosh, and they had to have success on, 6 of them? 7 of them? I mean, it was via penalty or...
Colts went after Surtain in that game 9 times.
Yeah, and, boy, I mean, those numbers were impressive. I don't know if they showed on the TV, but Surtain was really favoring that ankle when he left the game. I was shocked he came back and played. Yeah, Drew, I think this question probably has to be put on hold because, like, I don't think we're going to learn a whole lot about them this week. I think an area that has been really disappointing for me, Eddie, is just a lack of front 7 playmaking. Like, if I asked you to go make a highlight reel of plays in the front 7.
Yeah.
A nice Buckner pass rush or two, and that's probably it. Like, there hasn't been much from that area, which I think is a bit disappointing.
Moving on to Damon. In camp, the defense wasn't nearly as good when Charvarius Mooney Ward missed practice. It seems that trend has continued into the regular season. What's the biggest difference you see without number 7, and do you see any of the Colts players stepping up in his absence?
Well, I am dumbfounded by the stupidity of the Miami Dolphins not to at least challenge Xavier Howard in week 1. Like, it just kind of blew me away that they didn't really target him at all. Obviously when Ward was out last week, Howard goes from being just a part of the nickel and dime groupings to being a part of the base. So I want to say, and again, I know they played a low snap count in week 1, but I want to say his snaps were like 32 to like 55 or 56 from week 1 to week 2. So obviously that's a notable increase. But, in today's NFL, against pass-happy teams, you're still going to be playing him, a good amount. So, yeah, I would say that is something that I would probably keep an eye on. And right now, Xavier, I think, admitted it on Monday, like he knew he would be targeted. And, I don't know how much the rookie quarterback will necessarily do that, but if everybody's healthy here a week from Sunday, can you imagine Devontae Adams lined up across from him or Puka Nacua? You can only hide so much there with that aspect to it. So
don't forget about, did you mention Devontae?
Yeah, I mean, again, it could be either or. Mooney can't be guarding both of them. So that is something that I think could be a year-long question.
As someone who has a fair share amount of Puka Nacuas in fantasy football,
you might like that.
They have been lining him a lot in the slot more this year than they have in the past. That was primarily Cooper Kupp. So,
gosh, remember how good Puka was here in the game 2 years ago?
Oh, yeah, his rookie year?
That was kind of one of his coming out parties early on. Didn't he catch that touchdown over the middle for the win?
Well, it was in traffic, and I think he had to break a tackle too. Yeah, gosh, 9 catches, 163 yards, and a touchdown.
Man, I just remember how great, because I don't think Cooper Kupp played in that game, if I remember correctly. Gosh, he was so good.
Cooper Kupp did not play in that game. Kyron had a nice game, 25 or 103.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns.
Notre Damer, Kyron Williams, by the way.
Oh, is that true? Oh, how are you still? Are you feeling all right, Kev? You doing okay? I know we're further removed.
Yeah,
I didn't bring it up. You did. So
I know. That's all on me. No. You did not. Let's just move on. Rosie Bowen and I in the building on Saturday.
Really?
Notre Dame, Purdue. Rosie and I.
Just you and Rosie?
Yeah. Maddie, I think, is a little bit like, did you really think that was a smart idea? Or did you buy that selfishly for you? Like, well, I don't know. I mean, she's 5. I mean, she's got her Notre Dame cheerleading outfit. She'll be ready to go, you know? Won't she remember that? Won't she tell her friends about that at school on Monday?
I was about to say, do you think she's hit that point now where she'll remember this in the future?
I hope. I remember the first time I walked into Notre Dame Stadium.
How old were you?
Nonetheless, I was probably right around her age, maybe 6 or so, but hopefully good weather, and hopefully Notre Dame beats the brakes off Purdue.
All right, KB, time to make our picks for Sunday. The line started at 3.5.
Is that it for Twitter questions?
4.5. Oh, did I skip one?
I thought we had one more. Do we have Travis or no?
Oh, yeah, you're right. If Daniel Jones continues this as the Colts really have a decision to make with Anthony Richardson, we will see how it plays out, but definitely curious on how this all is handled moving forward.
Yeah, I'd have to double check, because I've been asking this a little bit of our guests this week. I think, and I was talking with an NFL agent earlier today, I think you can extend a 1-year contract guy in season. I know Stephen Holder was like, are you sure? Can you really sign 2 different contracts in a league year? Which I get what he's saying with that, but I probably have to double check that. I mean, as far as the Richardson decision is concerned, I don't see him being traded before the deadline. I just don't. I don't. Yeah, I've seen some people say, hey, look at all these injuries around the league. Wouldn't you get Richardson? I mean, are we forgetting it's going to take Anthony Richardson a little while to learn a new playbook? And isn't that a question of his right now?
Right.
To me, it seems like more of a project of spend a whole offseason kind of doing that. So the urgency, I guess, with Richardson, I don't see until the year is over. And then again, you have other aspects to it, Eddie. Are you retaining everybody? Answer that question for me. And then if so, you have the domino effect off of that. But, to me, it's almost a Carly Ursay-Gordon question first in how you want to kind of handle quarterback. Are you kind of on the freeze for any of that big picture stuff? Or is she blown away? Right now, it'd be positively by the job everyone's done. So, hey, you're all coming back. You guys make decisions as you please.
Yeah. Quick research for me, Kevin. I know you've been asking around, but veteran players who are beyond their original rookie contract cannot renegotiate their current contract within 12 months after signing their initial deal with the team.
So you can't. So this NFL agent was lying to me?
I don't know. Is it Maki Kawa or whatever?
I forgot he messaged me. So, yeah.
By the way, I was just curious because I was pulling up the live odds for this game as we make our predictions, KB.
Yes.
The favorite for right now, Coach of the Year, is Shane Steichen. Daniel Jones is 4th for Comeback Player of the Year. Now, they do suggest and recommend that it is a player who overcame illness or injury from the previous year. But there is still the chance where he could win the award. It doesn't outright say this award is strictly for somebody who was hurt the previous year. You've got Tyler Warren tied with Ashton Genty now as the odds-on favorite for AP NFL Rookie of the Year. And that's about it in terms of Colts players and Colts in, top 5-ish for awards for the end of season. But your prediction for Sunday, Colts opened up 3.5-point favorites, now 4.5, the total 43.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go 31-17 Colts.
Holy my, as Matt Taylor would say.
Again, the trench health of Tennessee is not in a good state, which I get the Colts have some injuries on the report right now to keep an eye on, but to me, that's the only way Tennessee can kind of keep this close. If Simmons and Sweat are in the middle and they're tearing it up, and again, Latham and Zeitler, both of them on the injury report. So, and weirdly, I think the Colts pass rush is so blah right now I think that means they'll keep Cam Ward somewhat contained, if that makes sense. Like, I think the more your edge rush gets upfield against a guy like Cam Ward, now that opens up lanes for him.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those games where you want to keep him in a confined pocket, which, again, I thought Bo Nix could operate from that way too long on Sunday, and he still made a couple plays with his legs. So I'll go 31-17 Horse.
Yeah, he's a guy that doesn't really want to escape left to right. He likes to go backwards. It's very weird.
Yeah. I mean, he's still in the backyard football. And again, if you watch the touchdown play, it was a hell of a play.
Yeah. I will go Colts 29-13.
29?
Yeah.
Is that
3 touchdowns, 3
5?
Field goals.
Wouldn't that be 30?
Sorry, hold on. Yeah, 30.
Okay. I was like, maybe Spencer Schrader's missing an extra point.
I'll go 30, yeah.
Okay. All right. He is Eddie Garrison. I'm Kevin Bowen. We will be back on Monday recapping the Colts' first road game of the year. Everybody have a great, great weekend. Thank you for listening to Colts Corner with myself, Kevin Bowen.